Aloy Ejimakor, the lawyer of Nnamdi Kanu, finally decided to speak after keeping silent for a long time. When he spoke, his words shook many Nigerians who had been waiting to hear the truth about what was really happening behind closed doors. In a calm but firm voice, he revealed that the Nigerian government was secretly planning something dangerous and unfair against his client. According to him, there was a hidden plan to either sentence Nnamdi Kanu to death or lock him away for life. Ejimakor explained that this was not just a normal legal case anymore. He said that what was going on in court was not the full story. Behind the scenes, there were forces trying to make sure that Nnamdi Kanu never walked free again. He said that every time the court postponed the case or refused to grant bail, it was part of a quiet strategy. The plan, he said, was to keep delaying until people stopped paying attention. Once the public lost interest, the government would quietly deliver a final judgment that would destroy his client's life. According to Ejimakor, the people in power were pretending that they wanted justice, but their real goal was to silence Nnamdi Kanu completely. He said, "They are trying to use the law to kill him slowly. They want to do it in a way that looks legal, but it is not justice." He said that each move from the government showed clear signs that something was being arranged behind closed doors. The delay, the silence, and the strange court decisions all pointed in one direction: a silent plot to end Nnamdi Kanu's fight for freedom. Ejimakor said that Nnamdi Kanu's voice had become too strong for the government to handle. His ideas, his courage, and his calls for freedom had made him a symbol that many people looked up to. Because of that, those in power were scared of what would happen if he was released. He said, "They see him as a threat because he speaks the truth without fear. They believe that keeping him in prison forever or killing him will bring peace, but they are wrong." He explained that Nnamdi Kanu's situation was no longer just about politics, it was about life and death. The lawyer said he had seen enough signs to know that the system was working against justice. He mentioned how court documents were being delayed and how orders that favored his client were ignored or twisted. "It is no longer about the law," he said. "It is about control. They want to show that no one can stand against the system and win." Ejimakor also spoke about how difficult it had been to meet his client and how security officers treated every visit like a crime. He said that even small rights that should be normal in a fair trial were being taken away. Each time he tried to speak up in court, he was either interrupted or told to wait for another hearing. "They want to wear us out," he said. "They want to make us tired until we give up. But I will not give up." He said that Nnamdi Kanu had remained strong despite all the pressure. Even though he had been kept in isolation for so long, his spirit was still alive. "Each time I see him, he tells me to keep fighting. He says he knows they are afraid of him, and that is why they are doing all this," Ejimakor said. The lawyer added that his client was not just fighting for himself but for millions who believe in justice and freedom. Ejimakor said it was painful to see how far the government was going to make sure Nnamdi Kanu stayed silent. He said they wanted to use fear and power to crush one man's voice. But he also reminded them that truth cannot be buried forever. Even if they lock him away, his voice will continue to live in the hearts of the people, he said. He called on Nigerians and the international community to pay close attention because, according to him, the government's plan was moving fast. He said that soon they might announce something that would shock the nation if people stayed silent. "The danger is that they want to make it look like a normal judgment," he warned. "But if we allow this to happen, it will not only destroy Nnamdi Kanu's life, it will destroy the meaning of justice in Nigeria." Ejimakor also made it clear that his fight was not against Nigeria as a country but against injustice. He said he still believed in a fair and peaceful Nigeria where everyone would be treated equally before the law. But he said that what was happening to Nnamdi Kanu showed that the system was deeply broken. "We cannot build peace on injustice," he said. "We cannot build unity on silence. If they truly want peace, they must allow justice to stand." As he ended his statement, Ejimakor said he was ready to continue the legal battle no matter how long it took. He said that Nnamdi Kanu's case was now bigger than one man. It was about every Nigerian who had ever suffered from unfair treatment. If they succeed in doing this to him, he said, they will believe they can do it to anyone else tomorrow. His voice carried both strength and sadness as he spoke those words. It was clear that he was not just defending a client, he was defending a principle, the belief that no one should be punished for speaking their mind or fighting for what they believe in. Ejimakor's message was simple but powerful. Nnamdi Kanu must not die in silence. He must not be judged in secret. He must not be forgotten. The lawyer said that justice delayed is not justice denied, it is justice destroyed. And he promised that as long as he lived, he would never allow that to happen. Aloy Ejimakor did not stop after revealing the shocking truth. He continued to speak with more strength and courage, giving out details that made Nigerians question what was really happening behind the walls of power. He called it the secret plan, a quiet operation being carried out to make sure Nnamdi Kanu never regained his freedom again. He said that from the very first day Nnamdi Kanu was brought back into Nigeria, the government had already written out their ending for him. It was not about giving him a fair hearing or allowing justice to decide his fate. It was about control, silence, and fear. Ejimakor explained that the government's aim was simple: to make Nnamdi Kanu disappear either by death or by locking him up forever. He said that each move they made had a hidden reason behind it. Each delay in court, each secret order, each moment of silence from officials, all pointed toward one goal: to keep the case hanging until people got tired and stopped asking questions. When that happened, they would quietly pass a final judgment that would end his client's life in one way or another. According to Ejimakor, some people inside the system had already made up their minds long ago. They saw Nnamdi Kanu as an enemy of the state, not as a citizen with rights. They are not interested in the law anymore, he said. They are only interested in punishment. He said that the so-called trial had turned into a game of power where the law was being used as a weapon. This is not justice, Ejimakor said. This is a plan to destroy one man because they fear what he represents. He explained that Nnamdi Kanu was not only a person but a symbol of truth to many people who believed in freedom and fairness. And that symbol, he said, was what the government wanted to kill, not just the man, but his voice. Ejimakor also said that strange things were happening around the case. Documents were missing, court orders were ignored, and some papers that were meant to be open to the public were kept secret. You can see the handwriting clearly, he said. They are preparing something, and they don't want anyone to notice until it is too late. He said that the government believed time was their best weapon. The longer they kept Nnamdi Kanu locked away without trial, the weaker his voice would become. People would move on with their lives, the media would stop talking about him, and even some of his supporters would grow silent. That was when, according to Ejimakor, they would strike. He said the plan had two possible endings. One was a death sentence, made to look like a legal decision after a quiet hearing. The other was life imprisonment, which would achieve the same goal: to make sure Nnamdi Kanu never saw the outside world again. They want to silence him forever, whether by death or by life in chains, Ejimakor said with anger. But he warned that such a move would only make things worse for the country. He said that if the government thought killing or jailing one man forever would bring peace, then they had learned nothing from history. You can lock up a person, but you cannot lock up an idea, he said firmly. You can silence one voice, but you cannot silence the truth. Ejimakor said that even inside detention, Nnamdi Kanu remained strong. He told the lawyer not to lose hope, reminding him that truth always wins in the end. Each time I see him, Ejimakor said, he looks tired, but his mind is still clear. He says he knows what they are planning, but he believes God and truth will expose them. He said that his client's faith and courage were the only things keeping the legal team moving. He is not afraid of death, Ejimakor said. He is only worried that the truth may be buried before the world knows it. The lawyer also called on international observers to pay attention because, according to him, this was no longer a local issue. He said the secret plan went beyond politics. It was about human rights, justice, and freedom. If they can do this to Nnamdi Kanu, then they can do it to anyone who dares to speak up, he said. Ejimakor said he had sent messages to international human rights bodies, asking them to watch the case closely because the Nigerian system could no longer be trusted to handle it fairly. He said, "There are things happening that should not happen in any country that calls itself democratic. This is no longer a trial, this is a setup." He said that even though the plan looked strong, it could still be stopped if enough people paid attention. He said Nigerians must not keep quiet, and the world must not look away. Silence helps the oppressor, not the victim, he said. If we stay quiet, they will get away with it. Ejimakor ended by saying that truth has a way of shining even in darkness. He said the government could plan in secret, but they could not hide forever. The truth will always find light, he said. No matter how long they plan, no matter how deep they hide, the truth will come out. He promised that he and his team would keep fighting through every legal means. He said they would not allow the Nigerian government to quietly sentence his client in the dark. We will expose them with facts, with the law, and with courage, he said. We will not stop until justice is done. Ejimakor's words showed both strength and sadness. He was a man carrying the weight of a nation's silence, fighting a battle that many were too afraid to face. But he made it clear that his loyalty was not just to Nnamdi Kanu, but to the truth itself. He said that one day, when history is written, people will remember who stood for justice and who stayed silent. He finished by saying, they can hold secret meetings and write hidden judgments, but they cannot hide from the eyes of justice. The truth is patient, but it never dies. When the news of what Aloy Ejimakor said began to spread, many people were shocked and angry. Some believed it right away, while others wanted to hear from the government before taking sides. But one voice that made everyone stop and listen came from Peter Obi. He was one of the few Nigerian leaders who spoke carefully but always truthfully, and when he decided to talk about Nnamdi Kanu's case, the nation paid attention. Peter Obi said he had followed the situation for a long time and that what was happening was not fair. He said it was wrong for any government to plan punishment in secret. No matter who a person is or what he has done, justice must be open, he said. You cannot claim to be a democratic country and still judge a man in the dark. His words were calm, but they carried the kind of truth that cut deep. Obi said that Nigeria's biggest problem was the lack of fairness. He said that when leaders begin to treat justice like something that can be hidden or changed at will, the whole system becomes dangerous. Today it is Nnamdi Kanu, he said, but tomorrow it could be anybody. Once a government learns to use power without accountability, it becomes a threat to everyone. He explained that he was not defending Nnamdi Kanu's actions or supporting his political movement, but he was standing for justice. He said that justice must be for all, even for those we disagree with. That is how nations grow, he said. When you deny justice to one person, you weaken the foundation of justice for all. Peter Obi reminded the government that handling Nnamdi Kanu's case with cruelty or secrecy would only deepen the division in the country. We cannot build peace by creating fear, he said. We cannot unite Nigeria by silencing voices. What we need is dialogue, not death. He said that violence and secret punishment had never brought peace anywhere in the world. Instead, they only create anger and bitterness that grow over time. Obi called on President Tinubu and the entire government to think deeply about what they were doing. He said that a strong nation is not one that kills or jails people it disagrees with, but one that can listen, discuss, and find solutions through truth. If Nnamdi Kanu has done wrong, he said, then prove it in an open court with fairness and evidence. But if you cannot prove it, then keeping him in chains is not justice, it is oppression. When Ejimakor heard what Peter Obi said, he felt encouraged. He thanked Obi publicly and said that his words gave new hope to everyone who believed in justice. He said, Peter Obi has spoken the truth that many are too afraid to say. He has reminded the government that the world is watching. Ejimakor also said that Obi's support was not political but moral, and that kind of support was what Nigeria needed more than ever. Peter Obi's statement spread across social media and made many people speak up again. Those who had gone silent began to demand that Nnamdi Kanu's case be treated openly and fairly. Young people started sharing messages of hope, saying that justice must win, no matter how long it takes. It became a new wave of awareness that touched even those who had stopped believing that the system could change. Obi also warned the public not to turn the issue into a fight between tribes or parties. He said, "This is not about where you come from. It is about what is right. We must not allow injustice to continue because it does not affect us directly. When injustice grows, it will eventually touch everyone." He said that unity was built on fairness and that the Nigerian government should lead by example. He also spoke about Nnamdi Kanu as a human being, saying that no one should be treated as if their life has no value. He said that leadership must be about compassion, not revenge. When we start using the law as a weapon to destroy people, Obi said, we lose the moral right to lead. Ejimakor echoed these words and said that Nnamdi Kanu was not afraid to face justice, but only asked that justice be real. He said, "We are not asking for mercy, we are asking for fairness. If they want to judge him, let them do it openly, so the world can see." He reminded the public that justice must not only be done but must also be seen to be done. As time went on, Peter Obi continued to speak about truth and fairness in other interviews. He said that Nigeria would never move forward if people kept being punished in secret. He said leaders must remember that power is temporary, but justice lasts forever. His words gave people something to believe in again. Ejimakor later said that Peter Obi's voice came at the right time, when it seemed like the world had forgotten about Nnamdi Kanu. He said Obi's message reminded the government that power without conscience is dangerous. "He may not be part of our legal team," Ejimakor said, "but his words have given us the strength of 1,000 lawyers." Together, their voices, one from the courtroom and the other from the political space, brought back the light into a case that many had tried to bury in silence. They reminded the people that justice is not a gift from the government but a right given by God and protected by law. Ejimakor said he hoped more leaders would join in and speak up because the more people stand for truth, the harder it becomes for lies to survive. "We must not keep quiet," he said. "Silence is the friend of injustice." Peter Obi ended his statement with one strong message that many Nigerians could never forget. He said, "You cannot build a peaceful country on injustice. The day we start doing what is right, that is the day Nigeria will begin to heal." His words became a source of hope to many who still believed that truth would one day overcome lies. And as Ejimakor continued to fight for Nnamdi Kanu, he said that Obi's support proved one thing, that there were still good men in Nigeria who were not afraid to stand on the side of justice.